I'm Devon's grandpa. I'm also his best friend, or I consider Devon my best friend. Devon came into my life, he was adopted. We developed a very close, open relationship, very comfortable with each other. And I've always had a special place, he's always had a special place in my heart. In fact, Devon isn't just my grandson. He's my best friend. He brought a great deal of joy and happiness to me and to our entire family. We did a lot of things together. We played golf together. We skied together. We built things together. I used to laugh that when Devon came over and said, "Grandpa, can we build?" And we'd go to Home Depot, buy more stuff than my wife thought we really needed. But we built a bond. We built a great bond. He also taught me to be, I found that Devon was probably one of the most caring people I've ever met in my life. There has been talk here that he is not, that he hasn't had, isn't sorry for what has happened. I can assure you he has. Devon doesn't show it much, but I know he's been in tears a lot. And in fact, some of the days at the trial, he spent afternoons in tears after the proceedings broke up. He also taught me to be a more kind and loving person. I grew up in a family, an immigrant family really, that very rarely showed emotions. In fact, showing emotion was looked upon somewhat by my father as being weak. Devon changed that for me. He taught me to use the word love, use it freely, and to mean it. I had some of the most happy and relaxed times of my life with Devon. All the good things that we did together probably pale in comparison to just the times we sat and talked to each other. I remember bringing him home from some of his activities in school, in youth theater, and his voice lessons. And he always used to ask me, "Grandpa, you need to tell me about what you did in the Army." Now, I may have embellished some of those answers, but we had a lot of fun with it. Devon one day looked at me and said, "Grandpa, you're my hero. I love you." That probably might have been the nicest words that have ever been spoken to me. But that's the kind of person Devon was. He also taught me to hug, again, from someone who did not show emotion. I experienced more hugging from Devon than probably anyone in my life. But what it did is it taught me the value of hugging people. He brought he brought joy and happiness to our family, to me as an individual and to our family as a whole. The Devon we know was not the Devon you've heard about here today. He's a loving, caring, absolutely outstanding person. I was asked once, after I bragged about Devon, said, "It seems you love Devon quite a lot." My answer was, "I not only love him, I love the ground he walks on." And that will be it's unconditional love. I will never stop loving him. He made a big mistake, yes, but he's a great guy. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Kaplan.
Honor Stephanie Erickson, Brianna Erickson, and Jim Erickson. This is Brianna.
Hello, my name is Brianna Erickson, Brianna Erickson, and I am Devon's sister. I will make this quick. First off, I do want to give my sincere condolences to the victims and their families. I truly know that Devon fully regrets what happened on that tragic day. The Devon I know has always had a very kind heart. He has only given me and my family the most caring love in the world, and I wish more than anything that this never happened. I know in my heart that this was not him. I love you forever, Devon, and I miss you every day. Thank you.
Hi, Honor. My name is Jim Erickson, Jim Erickson. Like most people, I want to start out with apologies and sympathies to the people who are heavily, well, some very, very heavily impacted, especially the Castillo family. Losing their son, I don't know how anybody can ever understand what that could be like. We try to, but it's impossible to know what it's like to lose your son, especially if it's your only son. I'm sure their hearts are ripped apart, and we heard that they still are. We hope someday that they will be able to heal this. We all know that this was just a senseless tragedy. And we do hope, though, that somewhere in the future that they will be healed from this. We also know that there's a large number of injured students that were impacted by the actions of that day. I want to recognize each one by name because it's important to us that we recognize the people who are impacted by this. So I'll start with Lucas Albertoni, Stephen Bartoni, Jackson Gregory, Mitchell Krause, Joshua Jones, Gerardo Montoya Ojeda, Thomas Saya, and Alexander Watford. Those are people that I don't know how they will ever forget what happened to them, and they'll have physical and emotional scars for the rest of their lives, and we're so sorry for that. We're also sorry about every single student that was in room 107 that day. Every single one of them will probably never forget what they lived through, the emotional trauma they went through, physical trauma for some of them. Our hearts go out to all those people that had to live through that experience. And even the adjacent classroom, the people who heard gunshots, had bullets coming through their wall, injured by them. We can't understand what it'd be like to go through something like that and how you can get past that. You know, how we know some of them have PTSD, go through counseling. Our hearts go out to those people. In fact, our hearts also go out to every single student at STEM. We heard there's 1,700 students in school that day. Not a single one of them is going to forget that they were part of a school shooting. And that's something that you can never correct with them. They will always have that, all the way down those kindergartners. And I know a lot of those kids are going through counseling. And that's tragic that little kids have to go through counseling, experiencing something like that based on some senseless tragedy that should have never happened. We also know all the parents and the families of those students are impacted. We heard from people who happened to be at the school that day, that they were there with the younger kids even, and the trauma that they have went through and how that's affected them and their families and even their daily lives. And our hearts go out to all those people, because we can understand how hard that is to go day by day, having those things in the back of your mind, trying to help your kids get through this where they're traumatized of just simple daily life activities that are now difficult for them. We also, our hearts go out to the law enforcement and the first responders. I'm sure those people were, doing their job by getting there as quickly as possible, but how could this have not affected them too? I think when people think of horrible things that happen, school shootings is pretty much usually at the top of the list of something horrible happening because it's affecting kids. We also just know the whole community. I know how many times we heard about STEM Strong, the STEM community. That means it's all the people around the whole area. Highlands Ranch, Douglas County, all those people were impacted by what happened that day. We also know that there's a lot of heroes that came forward that day. Of course, the obvious one was the brave young man, Kendrick Castillo, who was only thinking of trying to help and save others and not thinking of himself. That's as heroic as it can get. We also know Joshua Jones and Brenda Biley also accosted Devon and wrestled him down, disarmed him. I don't know how you can say somebody's not brave if they're doing some type of action like that. And then regarding Alec McKinney, Jackson Gregory, and Lauren Harper, having to accost him, and how horrible it is for a teacher to have to wrestle down a student with a gun. it's unfathomable that somebody would have to do that. We also heard about Mike Pritchard, that he came in not even knowing what was going on, and he's brave to go in that room knowing there were guns, and that he saw guns. He's taking guns away. That's a brave man. He never flinched. He was immediately over there. And again, also all the on-scene police officers, they were brave going in there, not knowing what they were walking into. They knew that there's possible multiple shooters. They don't know if they're still active. There's nothing more brave than people going into there to save lives and not thinking of their own lives as they're trying to do that. We also want to know that everybody knows that every single person I just mentioned, all the community, parents, families, victims, students in the room, we pray for these people every day. So we do. We know how bad of a tragedy this is, and not a single day has went by that we have not prayed for each person that I just mentioned. We also pray that these people will be able to heal and get past this at some point in their lives. We hope that they can find peace. And hopefully they can also find forgiveness. And I know it's a hard ask to ask for the forgiveness. Originally, I have a 5-page speech here. I'm not gonna subjectivate to 5 pages of my speech. Devon didn't want me to say too much about him in his defense. So I'm not gonna say all the things I wanted to say about him, but I'm gonna highlight a few of those. Because before May 7th, I was a very, very proud father of him. He's a very talented kid. We didn't know about his talent. We were told about his talents of being a good singer. Most parents are always excited about saying that their kid's a great singer. Luckily, we had somebody tell us he was a great singer. He performed in a whole bunch of musicals. I won't go through each one, how many different theater companies he's in. But he was in 91 musical performances. During his junior year, he was part of a highly talented jazz band where he was a lead singer. They performed at the Dazzle Jazz nightclub many nights. They were highlighted at the Five Points Jazz Fest and sang at the Denver City Park. He was part of 2 voice schools, one of which was a high-performing school also. He was involved in 33 performances while he was at that school, where he was singing on his own, on stage, in front of people. He was so well liked at that school that he was also a mentor to the younger singers. And then also the teacher, the school owner and the lead teacher saw Devon's abilities to work with kids and had his talents. And he was an intern teacher during his senior year at STEM, training to be a vocal teacher once he graduated. Just to prove that Devon didn't hate STEM, and nobody has ever said that, but I just want to make sure people know that he loved STEM. He liked that school. He was there from 6th grade on. He also was involved in the very first STEM talent show. And in that talent show, he won for vocals in middle school. He entered 4 more contests in the following years. He won 4 of the 5 STEM talent shows that he entered. Those are some of the best moments of our lives that still makes me cry when I see those performances that we videotaped. He also performed at some other talent shows. I won't go into the details of that, but he had been in several talent shows and did open mic nights at coffee houses. He also was involved in Dr. Kennedy's class, where he did other performances there and was part of a CD that they put together for some of the musical students, and they put together a CD to sell for raising money for the school. In total, Devon was in over 63 vocal performances. The other thing I want to highlight is he had a YouTube channel some people know about. In that, he had over 20 videos from these different performances he did. He had over 1,000 followers. His top video had over 40,000 views. His second top video had over 20,000 views. Right after the shooting, of course, YouTube pulled that channel down. Totally understandable. I could see why they'd do that. But later, his followers started reposting his videos, and he got continued views and continued posts and comments on those. The reason I bring that up is I want to make sure people know that this was not some lost kid. He was a very talented kid. Many people saw that. Many people followed him and thought he was a great performer and singer. I also want you to know he was really close to me. Like his grandfather, he was almost like, sorry. He was my best friend. It's okay. We used to do road trips every summer, sometimes two. It's just a dad-son road trip. And it was usually around Colorado. We just go someplace for a few days and just hang out and have fun in a cheap 1 or 2 star hotel. And he'd love to be able to eat pancakes in bed watching cartoons. Nothing I really want to point out is throughout school, he never had school problems. He never got in fights with kids. As you heard from others, he's very inclusive, both minorities, sexual identity folks. And throughout the whole trial, not one person ever testified in a negative way about how Devon was, other than Alec McKinney had mentioned negative things about Devon. I want to point out again that Devon had a future. He was going to be a voice instructor. He was delivering door dashing. He was working on his YouTube channel. To us, until he met Alec, he seemed fine. He was looking forward to graduation, working at that voice school, and pursuing his love for singing and music. To us, Devon did not lead the life of a future school shooter. Devon knew Alec for a few months before the shooting, and Alec is the one friend of Devon's that we never met. We'd never met Alec McKinney. Devon met Alec right about the time that Devon's mom was starting to have some severe health issues, which caused me to really focus on helping her through some things, which led us to not have the time to be with Devon and find out if he is having issues. We know that Devon is really sorry for what happened. He's told us so. And we still understand how he could have got involved in such a tragic event. We are still mind blown that something like this could happen. It's totally out of character for him. He cared about other people. What happened that day is still unbelievable to me. And we do believe if Devon had never met Alec McKinney, that this tragedy never would have happened. And Devon has told us that he liked Kendrick, and he said everybody liked Kendrick. So why would he want to hurt Kendrick? And Devon liked STEM. He had never complained about STEM at his school or that he didn't like it, and he never wanted to leave it. So I'd like to, Your Honor, for you to consider Alec's sentence. I think that looking at a precedent of how Alec was handled, how his sentencing was handled is appropriate. Obviously, it's your decision. As a reminder, Alec got life plus 38 years. But unlike Devon, Alec is going to be eligible for parole in 20 to 25 years. I'd also like you to consider that from our perspective, it doesn't make much sense to make an example out of Devon, because I would contend that there's no future school shooter who's going to care about their consequences or look at what happened to Devon Erickson and Douglas County. Judge Holmes actually said that when he was presiding over Alec's case in his sentencing, that he also believed that making examples of this is not going to change future school shootings. We also heard a little bit about parental love and unconditional love. As parents, we love Devon unconditionally, and we're still confused how this could have ever happened, how Devon could have ever been involved. He is not a lost, dark, evil teenager. He was not raised to be some homicidal killer, and we do think he can be rehabilitated. No parent wants to think their son could get involved in a school shooting like this, and we certainly never did. We never thought Devon would be capable of being involved in something like this. We think Devon can be rehabilitated, and people don't think he can. That's a sad message to other kids who could make these same type of mistakes. And again, Devon was talented with a future. No one saw this coming, other than I think Alec wanting this to be something that happened, who, as we know, Alec changed his story to make things favorable to his plea deal. We believe Alec's influence on Devon with the drugs, that we think that was a huge factor in Devon being involved in the shooting. We believe Devon is a special person who made some horrible mistakes during a few hours of one day of his life. Another thing that's been hard for us as parents is, to this day, we have not been allowed to see him or touch him or be in a room with him since before the shooting. We have not been allowed to see him or be with him. That's a horrible thing to have a parent do for somebody that they love, even if they made some horrible mistakes. In fact, every single call we have, because we're allowed to talk to them on the phone, they're all recorded. And as the prosecution said, that way, they have things that they can listen to or try to find out things about him. And that's a horrible way to have any type of relationship with a son where you can't even talk to him about things. And he's going through a lot of emotional issues of what he was involved in and the situations he's in. I know not many people are going to care about how we feel about this, how we feel about our son, because as we know, most people in this room hate Devon. They hate who he is, what he represents. And we also heard many people in this room hate us as parents and hate his family. And I want people to know we understand that. We understand that hate. We don't agree with it, but we understand that. Because we're not sure how we'd be if our son was killed or harmed in a school shooting either. Maybe we'd be the same way. But I want people to know that we are victims too. We're victims to this. There's a lot of things that people know that happened to us, whether it's our house, our cars, our money. And most people who have went through this, there's some people who understand what the grieving process is, where there's a normal turn of events when you go through a major trauma and how you grieve through that. We're not able to do that because we don't have closure to what to grieve for. We still, as many people know, have many more milestones to go through with Devon's future. There's several major things that he's going to be going through, and we as parents want to support him through those things. We're hoping someday we're going to get to see him and hug him and cry with him. So school shooting has forever changed our family, and we feel an overwhelming amount of pain from this. And of course, our whole family is going through counseling. We're going through lots of counseling, and we expect to for a long time. But we also know that many, if not most of the victims are going through counseling too. And I want people to know too that not an hour, and I mean this literally, not an hour goes by for me every day where I don't think about this school shooting. We are truly sorry for all the victims of this horrible tragedy. We know this has impacted so many people. Most of them will feel this impact for the rest of their lives. But we still love Devon and know deep in his heart that he's a kind, compassionate person. As Mr. Kaplan said earlier, we're still scratching our heads, and we don't think we will ever find out the answer of how this tragedy came about. How did it come like this? We also want people to know that we've had to forgive Alec. I think it'd be easy to hate him and blame him for everything that happened to our son. But we're past that. We know that he needs to be forgiven too. We also hope someday others can forgive Devon. So, Your Honor, what I'm asking is you to please show some compassion in your sentencing. I know that you have to give Devon life without parole, but please don't pile on all the years possible that the prosecution would like just to create this eternity sentence. It will make no difference to give him 1,400 years after his life sentence, and possibly serves to glamorize the school shooting to would-be shooters. Alec only received life plus 38 years, plus he can get on parole in 20 to 25 years. Devon doesn't deserve worse than Alec, but he's already guaranteed to have a worse sentence than Alec. Thank you for considering that. Devon, your family loves you, and we forgive you, and we believe God loves you too, and that he's forgiven you too. Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Stephanie Erickson, Stephanie, Erickson, Erickson, and I'm Devon's mother. I'm going to cut this short due to the fact that my husband already said a lot, and Devon really didn't want us to speak on his behalf. I think this is hard on him too, so I just want to first apologize and say I am so very sorry to Mr. and Mrs. Castillo for the loss of their son, Kendrick. I am a parent, and I cannot begin to imagine the pain of losing a child. I know you both have holes in your hearts that will never, ever, ever be filled. And please, please know that we do care. And we have been praying for you both, as well as everyone else since the beginning. I have cried, I have prayed, I have even screamed at times. Not only for all of you, but for us and Devon too. I don't expect this to be of any comfort to any of you, but I do hope God is listening, and I hope that he can help everyone. Maybe not as fast as everyone would like, but eventually. And in addition to the Castillos, I'd also like to apologize to all the victims, their families, and everyone impacted, affected, and involved, including Devon, for the mental, spiritual, emotional, and in some cases, physical pain you have all suffered from this tragic event. My husband has gone into more specific names, so I will not do so again, but please know that my sentiments align with his. As far as, I understand that people don't want to hear anything good about Devon. I have no doubt I would feel the exact same way if I was in their shoes. I just want to say that Devon is the person that they've described. Other than this one day, I have never met that person. Never, ever have I met that person. He's loving and hugs us and says he loves us and teases us and laughs. It's just such a tragedy. And I also want to say that during all this time, when I was sick, I truly do believe in my heart and in my soul that this would never have happened had I not been sick and I had been home. And I am so sorry to everyone, including Devon, because I was not an uninvolved parent. I was overly involved to the point of being an annoyance to Devon, understandably so. But I was very, very involved, and I know that I would have caught all this. So I'm so sorry, and I live with that every day. And I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, Devon, at the time in your life when you needed me the most. I wasn't there for you, and I'm so, so sorry. Anyway, I think that, I'm sorry I'm cutting this really short, but I just do want to say that I really do hope and pray for each person they can begin the process of healing. I know not everyone is spiritual, and I respect and understand that, but I have been over the last 3 years. I was introduced to a church and I just drank it up like I was starving for it. And it has gotten me through this. I believe that whether people believe it's God, Jesus, Spirit, whatever different people resonate with, I believe that God is in, through, and with all of us, and that God is merciful and forgiving and compassionate and loving, and he gives his love to every single person impacted, affected, and involved in this situation. And that absolutely includes Devon too. God forgives you, Devon, and so do I. You are loved always and forever. This does not have to define you. You can make great choices and do good in prison, and I have every confidence that you will. Why do I know this? Because I know you, because I believe in you, because you are a good person who made a horrible, devastating mistake that has altered your life as well as so many others, and I am so deeply sorry to everyone for that. Please please hold to the person that you are off all these drugs. Hold to that person that you've been the majority of your life, and be strong, my son. I love you always and forever. Your family and I are always here from you. And I do want to just briefly address the no remorse thing. I know it seems like that, but you know, I too have cried and screamed and bawled. But I can sometimes come into this courtroom and not show that side of me. I don't know what that is, whether that's what it takes for me to get through it, where I become stronger, or whether it's because I'm praying to be strong while I'm here. I'm not doing very good right now, but I've talked so many times to Devon on the phone when he said, you know, I've cried so much that sometimes I'm surprised that I can still cry. He's had panic attacks. He's had scratches on his chest from panic attacks. He's been in suicide watch multiple times. He's been on antipsychotic drugs, which are known for making you unemotional and stoic, and he needed those to be it because he was so emotional. So I know, I understand that people see what they see, and that they're in so, you know, he's done such a horrible thing that there's probably no way for you to see any good in him. And those are completely understandable and real and human emotions that I completely respect, I completely understand. I'm just asking you to please respect my different opinion, even though I understand that you don't agree with me. Thank you so much. And thank you, Judge Slade, for letting me speak. Thank you.